Conversations seem to die. Nostalgic thoughts of a better place in time. But I can't take you there. Another day, another page, another chance for time to rip you away and leave me on my own. I feel so alone since you've gone. He said, so listen close. I have so much to say, but I feel these are my dying days. Stand your ground and don't back down. And when I am gone, you will carry on. I never thought I'd see the day when I'd have to say goodbye. I'm dreaming I cannot see, but there will always be a piece of you with me. But I feel so alone since you've gone. He said, so listen close. I have so much to say, but I feel these are my dying days. Stand your ground and don't back down. And when I am gone, you will carry on.
Hey guys, happy Friday!
What's up, gang?
Welcome to Living Hopefuls Recovery Chat. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. We've had a good week. Nothing really exciting happening. Just been pretty much a quiet week. As a matter of fact, we were just talking. I was in the house and I'm just thinking, man, I feel like yesterday we were just here. I just can't believe how fast this week flew by. I swear we were
Hello,
here
Eric.
yesterday.
Eric is in the house.
Mr. Eric, we have Larry in the house. I'm just sharing it out to a few people that like to,
Looking at the tote board up there. Got a few people in the background there.
yeah, they like to pop in and they need the link to pop in. So I'm just sharing it out. I hope everybody is doing well. If not, please feel free to pop it into the comments if there's something that you want to talk about, need to talk about. We're here to share our experiences and what we have learned through different avenues, whether it was something out in the community, whether it was something, a class that was taken, what have you. There are several different educational programs out there. You just have to look for them. And if you're not in the recovery world, You really can't find anything out there. So if you know of anything out there, please feel free to share it on the page. Send it to me and I'll put it out there. Feel free to, as well, if you know of any events that are happening in your community, please feel free to share that out with us, as well as we don't see a lot of things out there lately, because I don't know why. I really don't know why, because nothing has changed. It hasn't gotten better. As a matter of fact, right now we are struggling with some losses. There have been so many losses as of late, and we really need to, help whoever we can.
There's definitely been a big surge in
Overdose deaths.
lethal overdoses lately. I mean, don't know what it's attributed to.
Nope.
I mean, don't know. I mean, usually you could say a certain holiday or a certain weather or this or that, but
Surge of something, but
no, it's just a sad state of affairs.
mm-hmm. We really need to.
A couple of people have really been on kind of like long-term recovery. I mean, just relapsing and
Yeah.
the drug supply is so unforgiving right now. You know what I mean? So like if you're relapsing, going out and buying from an unknown source, it doesn't matter who you're buying from, even an unknown source.
Yeah.
It may not be what you bargained for.
Exactly. And we really need to get the education out there. And it's hard, because if it is something that states addiction of any kind, you don't get a lot of people in there. So trying to find, ways to get people that aren't affected, or they don't know they're affected as of yet. And that's the key word. Our loved one had been affected for a while. I don't know exactly how long, but for a while. And, we didn't know. And Pappy always says, you already know somebody that is struggling with a substance use disorder. You just don't know it yet. And that's the reality.
No, I said my shirt says you already know a heroin addict. You just don't know that you know them yet.
Yes. And
but
it's true.
For any addiction, anything. I mean,
mm-hmm.
like people go around sharing it. Hey, guess what?
Yeah. Nobody puts it out there.
It takes you by surprise, Like, oh my gosh, we had no idea.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like people, oh, I just passed my, my
bar exam?
My bar exam. Oh, I just, passed this. I just passed. Nobody's saying, oh,
I just passed something.
Yeah, we won't get into that. Thank you. But these are just things that we have to really be mindful of. If you haven't heard from somebody in a while, reach out to them, because that's something else that's really becoming pretty hard. People are really struggling with all sorts of things: depression, anxiety, social anxiety. If you haven't heard from them, reach out to them. Just talk to them. See what's going on. See if there's anything you can do to help them through a difficult time. And reach out to people also that you may not realize you're isolating from that. So reach out to people. Let them know. Let them know you need somebody to talk to, that you need somebody to help you through some difficult times. And let them know when you see that I'm missing.
It's touching. People say, hey, I'm just reading. I haven't heard from you. I just want to make sure, is everything all right? I mean, I'm checking with all my friends. You know, there's a lot going on with everybody's lives right now. And I recommend we should all touch base with each other. So I'm just calling for no other reason but just to say hi and make sure everything's cool.
I think that is so
I wanna be safe,
important.
but that's so nice of you, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
It ain't like you're prying. You
No.
know, it's the way you say it, you know, like, not that you suspect anything. I'm calling all my old friends I haven't heard from, and I'm just touching base.
It's important. It really is. There's so much suicide right now. There's so much overdose deaths, and they might just need somebody to talk
It's still
to.
amazing how much suicide we have among veterans. And I just heard a thing today again. It's still like 22 a day.
Yeah,
That's unbelievable.
it is. And it's sad. It's really sad because there's help out there, but there's just some people out there that can't or don't feel like they can reach out to someone because of a situation, because of, we can't do that because, they'll think less of me. I'm supposed to be this big macho person, and
Macho. I really the song of me.
but I mean seriously, that's the fact. It's
Jack.
we have to be mindful that not everybody may reach out to somebody, and unfortunately it may be something that just one person would have been able to save them.
Barb. Everybody coming in the house.
Yep. Welcome everyone.
Yeah,
Glad you guys are popping up.
I just want to touch on something. It came up again at our family meeting the other night. And someone had found their loved one in their garage, a large stash of empty vodka bottles. And they didn't understand what's going on with that, this and that. And so I had to explain to them. It was told to me by this professor years ago that a lot of people with a drinking addiction, with a drinking abuse disorder, whatever you want to call it, a drinking problem, tend to gravitate towards vodka. And he asked the crowd, why do you think that's so? So of course, all the hands go up, and most of the hands say, because you can't smell it. Wrong. Because what it really amounts to is that vodka is pure ethanol, and it gets you to where you need to be the fastest and most effectively. And it's actually the cheapest too, probably, I have to assume.
Probably.
You get that cheap Banneker Club. But that's why so many people gravitate toward it, because when you're that far into your addiction, you're not drinking to party or for taste, or you're drinking to feel well, to get your head together, because you're in withdrawal. You don't feel well. You can't focus. So there's so many people you don't even notice when they're at that point that they're inebriated, because the only time you really notice is if they're, don't have enough and they're in withdrawal, or if they had way too much than they can assimilate, and then, you can tell by the slurred speech and the animated behavior, irritated behavior. But some of them could just coast right along. You don't even know, because you just attribute that's just the way they are, their everyday behavior. But that was just a little tidbit, and it was funny. Not funny, but the people were kind of defending this individual in a sense, and he said something really. It just struck me kind of odd. He said, "Well, I don't know." He said he was going to make a lamp out of them, like hanging lights out of these vodka bottles, and there was apparently a large amount of them. I mean, I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of like a hoarding thing, I think, to me. I mean, I believe the part with them, they don't know why, but they don't want, but they come up with this excuse, like, you're going to hang, like fifths of vodka, make lights out of them, hanging around. I mean, I guess. But they were like, really, well, he said he was going to make lamps out. I said, no, he wasn't. It's just kind of some kind of thing that hoarding and addiction and all, because they just don't want to part with it for some reason or whatever. But I just wanted to put that out there. I mean, did anybody else ever have an experience with someone deep in their addiction, just not parting with the empty bottles or empty baggies, or empty whatever. I mean, it's just another part of the disease, in the mind. I mean, I don't know. But I wanted to touch on that because it was kind of interesting. There were newer people, and they're kind of hesitant. I can't put my finger on it. It's going to be tough for them to change their ways for their loved one to be able to feel comfortable within the household, a big party household. And they said, we're really big partiers. It's going to be hard for them. I said, well, it's a family disease, and you might not have to get on the same page for a while, especially in the beginning. I mean, everyone's going to have to make some sacrifices if you truly love this individual and want to see them get well. And it's like you can see the selfishness coming out. Well, I don't have the problem with it.
Right.
I'm not an alcoholic. This person told me, but they drink pretty frequently. So everybody's got their own spin on where it becomes a problem or a disease or an addiction. And I didn't really touch on it too much. But it was kind of like they were kind of adamant they really had no interest in changing their ways. It's, all the best luck for their loved one. But I'm like, okay, and it was their first meeting. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to be too blatant. But,
And we have to be careful. Like when our loved ones are in early recovery, we do need to be careful of what we're doing around them and what we're subjecting them to in the beginning, because it can be difficult, and it can be difficult for some people for the rest of their lives. They may not be able to ever be around.
Yeah, I brought that up too to the individual, and it was kind of another look on his face, like really never. I said, well, how do you think the individual feels? That's a harsh reality right there. I mean, you can't ever go back to drinking. Once you get clean and sober, you got to stay clean and serene, man. And it's not a disease that you get healed from. It's just a disease that can be maintained through certain behaviors and such. Just like diabetics got to stay with their insulin, and they got to watch their sugar intake. If not at all, it's just one of the things. But and so many people come into it thinking they're going to be cured, and they're just going to be able to become a sociable drinker again, or
or
a sociable this or that.
Right.
Dabble in this and that. I mean,
Right. Barb says, well, I'm struggling with staying sober and working with emotional support in my school. I love these kids, but woo, love these kids. Yes. That's a challenging group to deal with, because
kids got a lot more on their plate today than back in the day when we were.
Exactly. They do.
It's a whole different ball game, man, between bullying and cyberbullying
and just having
and more addiction issues at younger ages,
and with the ADHD and
violence, the propensity for violence. I mean, deadly violence.
Autism, they're difficult. It's difficult to deal with when you have such emotional types of children to deal with.
At such a young age. I mean, a lot of times it didn't get more into the adolescence, like high school.
Hey, Kathleen.
But now it's into grade school. Oh my gosh.
And it's happening younger and younger and younger. But what are you doing to stay sober? That's the issue.
Well, more problem than 12 people could deal with. I probably would have to agree. I mean,
and there's the kids that are seeing the addiction in their homes, and violence in their homes, and abuse in their homes, that they don't feel that they can talk to anyone and be lashing out. And these are the people that we have to
kids
really
know to watch what they say, because they're all aware of children's services and everything now. So they're very hesitant on what they're going to say, because they've seen what happened to friends and friends' families. where the friends may have been taken out of the home and stuff because of things. So kids are clamming up. I mean, kids ain't dumb. They all talk amongst themselves. I mean,
Exactly.
you might not know what they're talking about, and most don't realize how informed they are and what they
Yes.
do know. I mean, they'd be
Yes.
shocked.
And to take these courses that you have to take, well, it's not courses, but like classes to even work in the school system today, it's so and homeless, that's really a struggle right now, with the kids in the schools today. There are so many people that so many families that have children that are school age that don't feel that they can get to school because they don't have a permanent address. They're homeless and living in a car or living, out on the street. So
What's the new word? We're not allowed to say homeless anymore.
I forget
Isn't
what
it
it
like
is.
housing unstable or something like?
I-
What's the latest catchphrase? I can't remember.
It is, and I'm sorry, but they're homeless, and that's that. It is what it is. That's what it's been all my life.
I hear you. It's like shelves.
Not that's shelf stable. That would be
Safe,
food.
shelf-stable food instead of non-perishable. That's what I was right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So what are you doing to pull yourself out of those situations where you're struggling and need that extra help to keep you on the path of your sobriety? That's the most important thing. Talking to these children can be so upsetting because you want to be able to, take them home with you and keep them safe, but we know we can't do that.
And you gotta
you know-
weigh. You gotta weigh every word.
But you've taken the classes in order to work for the school system, so you know what you have to legally do.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, I don't think I could be a good mentor for
Right.
younger children.
It's hard. I know I dealt with a child that, was going
I
through a
resonate
difficult
pretty
time.
good with like the 20 to 40-year-olds.
So,
But,
and that's what you have to do. You have to stay connected to your meetings. You have to find that sponsor. You have to use that call list. And, and it doesn't hurt to seek out therapy underneath all of that as well. And that's, something that's important, especially when you're dealing with children that are going through some really difficult situations. Working in the school system, I've gone through it with a couple kids that really needed that extra, support. And you have to be careful. You have to be careful of what you say, what you do. When I knew that something was just not going right with somebody, I would go to the principal and say, listen, I just want to bring this up. This is what I'm seeing. You may want to bring them in and talk to them and have the counselor here. That's the best thing you can do, is to let them know that you're there for them and you're listening. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the principal saying, oh, by the way, Miss Barb, she told us that she sees you struggling. Just pull them in and just say, I see your grades are, not great. And because you want to be able to keep that open communication so that you can continue to go, forward and continue talking with them and getting as much information to address to the principal or the counselor. That's my best suggestion. I love my job and just went to a school board meeting for honor a kid who won a LIFT award. I'm not sure what a LIFT award is, but I guess it's a good award. Yes. You know, it's hard, but you know, they're not your children. So, you know, unfortunately, you have to pray that they do well and just reach out to the people that are there to help them. That's all you can do. And you have to take care of yourself within all of that too, because that stress could be detrimental to your sobriety. That is, I know I worked in the school system for a short time, and you get attached to these kids. They're just the greatest little people in the world. And to have ninth and 12th grade,
Let's
that's
get flashbacks of our Boy Scout days. Oh my God. The stories she could tell. Some funny stuff. I mean,
Yes.
kids are a pip.
yes, they are.
And now, like, you know, they're all grown up with families of their own, and like you're walking through the mall, and you got this guy with a beard with 2 kids in tow yelling, "Mr. Parker, Mr. Parker!" And I
Yeah.
thought, like, oh my God, you're like 40, you know,
Yeah.
call me Pappy, all right, please.
Yeah.
I was like, it's funny.
Yeah.
But they're still nice kids. They still make a fuss over you. It's funny. You're
Yeah.
part of their life. You know what I mean? Like a teacher. You know, like, you always remember your teacher. You always remember your scout
Yeah.
masters and stuff like that. I wasn't a scout master, but I helped the troop. I had a uniform or anything. I was an assistant with the troops. I was Lori.
Eric, it's so true. It takes a special kind of person to be a teacher these days. Good, God bless you. It does. The kids today are, and I understand their issues. It's not always very nice in their homes or you know, growing up. I know how difficult it is out on that playground. I know how difficult it is in that lunchroom. And, you know, it's even harder because everything is like shared so quickly through social media and phones today. Yeah, they're not allowed to have the phones in the classroom, but guess what? They're down there going, no, 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 you know. Oh, she just called you this. Oh, she just called you that. And, you know, it's just, it's scary out there because there's no reprieve. There's no downtime in between all of that.
No. I had an incident at work yesterday, so Barbara to say.
Yes, and that's also easy, unfortunately, but you know, some kids are brutal. Some kids are just mean and nasty. And you know, I don't know if it's a reflection of the home or, you know, once they get out the door, you don't know what your kids are up to. You may know where they are and who they're with, but you don't know what they're doing. And that's just facts. You know, I used to hang out at the mall. It was a little hard for me because my entire family lives in the area. So, you know, we would sneak a cigarette and, oh, here comes aunt or uncle or whatever. So, you know, have to like run out the side door or whatever. But, you know, it's just once they get out the door, and I was not a bad child. I did not do a lot of bad things. I watched my older sister and my younger brother get in trouble. So I kind of knew what I shouldn't do and what I could do. So I let them take the brunt of it. So that's, you know, it is what it is.
I had an incident yesterday at work I'm going to talk about. So, you know, I drive a truck. I make deliveries all around the region in here, and I kind of have an area, but I don't now. I'm working for the company now as of the first of the year. The last 19 years I worked for myself with the same company, but now I drive a company truck. I'm working for them directly. It's just better right now, more convenient. But anyway, so they had me make a delivery in Kensington the other day at some Quickie Mart. And I hate driving in that part of the city. Everybody's so aggressive. It's just another world out there. It's just a headache, and they know I don't like it. Now, I just got broadsided by a woman about a month ago down in the city in a brand new truck at a light. She just ran right into the side of me, like lost consciousness behind the wheel and crashed into me. So her hand slipped off the wheel. So now I really don't want to go in the city anymore. So anyway, the other day they sent me down again. They know I'm
Thanks,
not happy.
Barb.
And I brought it up, and it's kind of where everybody knows what I do on the side, working with people. I work down with people in addiction down in the city in Kensington. But when the word Kensington came up, so one of the newer drivers was in the office, and he says, "Oh, yeah, it's not a good area to really work at, it being this and that." And one of the girls in the office, it was kind of weird. I know her for years really well. She's really curious to go down to Kensington. So he said, "Oh yeah, Chrissy wants to go down there to look at it." And what it was, she's seen a video. She had no idea what goes on in Kensington. And I just assumed pretty much everybody is aware, just from the news and everything. And she just wanted to go down out of curiosity because it was like kooky, crazy. She just wanted to see what these people were like down there, like they were a sideshow. And it's kind of weird. That ticks me off. It's like a trigger for me. I mean, they're people. They're fucking human beings. I mean, they're not a sideshow. And I really had to watch myself and sit back and say, people don't think like I do. You know what I mean? So that's their opinion. I mean, it is kind of bizarre. I guess people are curious.
Well, people are curious, and not to mention, I mean, may not know what she's struggling with. She may, have somebody out there as well.
She's seen them Kensington videos that they exploit them on. I know that animated wacky behavior. She had no idea this goes on down there. I'm like,
right,
man, do you live like under a rock? I mean,
but even still, she's
had
probably
it for 8 years looking at it.
Yeah, look at the media, how they just.
Oh, then the other guy goes, "Oh, the television doesn't do any justice how bad it is down." I'm thinking, dude, you're telling me. So then I just shut up again. Like I'm some expert,
Right.
I'm getting a little full of myself, I guess. So I just let everybody talk about it. I said, well, yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. I left it at that.
Yeah, it is, and it's sad. It is sad down there, and what you are seeing on these videos are not made up. It is true.
It's unbelievable.
And it's actually even worse than what you see, because you see one area where it is really all over.
Yeah.
And it's just sad. And it's sad that the videos are out there and people are making money off of these videos by sharing it. And
Yeah, or they're exploiting them. And
it's just disgusting.
When these people do get well, when they do, if they do, and they get their life together, these videos can pop up any time and embarrass them. And
The media
it's
pisses me off because they don't use it for good. They don't use it to help. They have to find the worst part of anything.
Well, that's anything with media. They put that spin on there to make it more exciting to the viewership or something.
Okay, we have somebody saying Boa Noit. I don't know what that is.
What we got here?
Nathan Truglio.
Oh, welcome, Nathan.
I'm not sure what that means, but welcome.
Welcome, Nathan. Maybe you found us through YouTube there. You stumbled upon us. We talk about addictions and how to fix families and such, and individuals. That's what we talk about. We try to help people and families get through their drug or alcohol addiction, whatever it may be, or any addiction. It could be gambling,
Yes.
sex addictions, gaming addictions, believe it or not. Yeah. Shopping
Addiction is addiction.
Shopping addictions.
I don't have a shopping addiction. I buy what we need.
And some.
And a couple more things if it's on clearance. I'm a clearance girl, so, a deal is a deal.
And then she gets something for me really nice, and then I got to shut the hell up. I got a very nice belt today, came in the mail, I needed a new belt. Mine took a crap. So now I'm stifled. I can't talk about her shopping.
Yes. I bought him a real belt that is actually real leather and not that fake vegan leather.
Vegan leather. Oh my God, that's true. How true.
So Nathan, I welcome you. I hope you hang out if you do have somebody that is struggling with a substance use disorder, or yourself may be struggling.
Put down. How did you find us? What's your situation? Is there something we could help you with, direct you towards?
Yep. And
feel free to spark. We're a judgment-free zone here.
Yep.
We've been doing this for 8 years now.
Yep. 8.5. And Eric, yes, it does start at home. It does. And unfortunately, there are a lot of parents today that just aren't in it. They're not there with the kids. They're not there, doing the whole kid thing. It is a different world today. Both parents are working. So many families are really having a difficult time, and I'm not exactly sure.
Nathan, you're losing us in the language.
Brazil.
Can
I guess he's from Brazil.
Can anybody tell us what Nathan's trying to get across to us there?
Yes, I can't. Sorry.
Brazil. No, there's a tough country right there. Dangerous. I mean, a lot of going on there. It's like the kidnapping capital of the world. Sections of Brazil, believe it or not. Kidnapping for ransoms and such.
It means good evening. You need to translate. Yeah, because I can't.
That whole sentence just says good evening?
No, the Boa Noite, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Boa Noite.
Good evening to you, Nathan.
Yes,
Lucky
good
we have
evening.
Barb. She's a bilingual viewer. She worked in a Spanish coffee house. I don't know. I guess she left it at school.
I'm trying to figure it out, but Este
Eric's a pretty worldly guy.
Estados Unidos Nail de Different.
Well, there you go. We got
Brazil.
viewership over. Now we got a
Yep.
viewer from Brazil. I'd say that's awesome. That's great. Mm-hmm. Well, we're serious, but we joke a lot on the show also.
Yeah,
The recovery, I don't feel recovery needs to be all doom and gloom.
right.
I mean, you can have fun talking about it and all. It doesn't make you a bad person.
And Nathan, if you have a way to switch that over to English and you can understand English, that would be awesome.
Yes.
I just don't know how to do it. I do know there is a way, but I'm not sure how to do it. But yeah,
I
this
can
is
speak a little French, I could tell you, but the post office opens at 3. And the best thing I remember from like 2 years of French is I can say, "La skile laissez bébé."
oh, it's Portuguese.
And that's, okay, that's cool.
Okay.
Oh, wait, we got a connection for Portuguese.
I can't stop.
Want to get her on here.
Yes,
A good friend of mine is engaged to a Portuguese lady,
yes.
and he's trying to get her a visa now. She could. Oh, is she Portuguese or Philippines?
Philippines.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't
Philippines.
know.
But she speaks Spanish.
I can't really.
John, if you're on there, get Pearl on here. we need a translator. John, if you're in the background out there.
Yeah, but yeah, and it does start at home. A lot of things start at home, and there are a lot of people that are dealing with a lot of issues at home. Again, we go back to, trauma. We go back to addiction.
And speaking about trauma and addiction, this individual the other night, it's his son that he's dealing with an alcohol issue with him. And this guy really feels guilty, like it's his fault for his son's alcoholism. This son's like older now. He's not a small kid. I forget how old his son is now.
Right, and
But when they was really young, something happened, and he sat him down and gave him a double shot of something. Is that what he said, kind of?
he gave him a shot of
And let him try it.
whiskey, a nasty taste in whiskey.
And he feels that was the turning point that started his son's addiction. He beat himself up for his son's drinking problem, just from that one time letting him taste that. I'm like, he feels very guilty. He's very uneducated in addiction, and he's a heavy drinker himself. And I felt really bad for him. And like, no matter what I said, it's not your fault. It's something that happens. Everybody.
Oh, Eric.
Brain
I
works
love you
different.
so much.
Uh oh.
You're killing me. You're killing
That
me,
you're really
Smalls.
ugly and have a deep-rooted problem. He probably did. And it's very true. This guy is like very perceptive. if you only knew how deep rooted they are.
But we have so many family members out there that are affected. So many of our children out there are affected by the parents, drinking, drugging, the fighting, the
Just the
sexual abuse, the physical abuse, verbal abuse. There's just so much of that in today's society that, when they get out the door, there's no real nurturing, there's no love coming from the inside of the home. So it, follows through on the outside. And then we have the ones that just want to be really cool, and they're probably the sweetest and nicest people to family members and friends.
That's another thing the other night. How many times they're saying, and everybody loves him at all his jobs. He's the nicest guy. They just love being around him. Mm-hmm. And it's a shame that this individual just got a DUI and he stands a chance of losing his job because part of his job involves driving. And but you hear that all the time. Oh, everybody loves him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like,
our loved
just
ones.
because you got a drinking or a drug problem doesn't make you a bad, horrible person. Mm-hmm. A lot of loving, great to be around, fun people.
There's a lot of people out there that they're not bad people. They're amazing people. It's just the drugs turned them into a person we don't know anymore.
Yeah.
The drug or alcohol turns them into a mean, nasty person versus the kind, loving,
and
respectable.
he's a functioning alcoholic. I mean, oh my gosh, should I hear that one more time? But all that means is that you have a job and the problem with alcohol at the same time. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of functioning alcoholics that are it's trying to make you sound better.
Yes.
I mean, it's great.
And it's sad out there. I mean, people are uneducated on this, and it's their first, go around. You don't understand. You don't understand the whole take on all of that. So, I get it. I understand it. When we were going through it, it was like, oh, it was just a small little issue, and they're better now, and it won't happen again. And you just, you hold that hope. Hey, Christine, you just hold that hope that's what it is, one and done. But it's very far from the truth. It's, and if anybody knows Portuguese, that would be awesome to be able to translate this. And see what's going on here, because I don't.
Either way, it's great to have you, Nathan.
Yeah, we hope it's great to
hope it's great. I hope all is well. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult you. I mean, I'm just...
Yeah, I hope you're saying good things.
I seen Brazil, and I don't know. I'm just showing my ignorance.
So
I'm just an ignorant truck driver by trade.
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out.
I'm not a Rhodes Scholar. Like I got Eric out there and Barb to help me through this.
Channel
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I come off as ugly. If that is indeed what you said.
No, I'm
I don't
sure
know,
it's not what he said.
I'm at ease with my looks.
I'm sure it is not what he said. I'm sure it's what.
Just kidding.
Anyway,
That's just the way we have a little fun
in
here.
English, Rich.
That's the way we have fun.
Google Translator.
I think Barb looked it up too.
How can you do that on something that's
We'll look it up
written?
later. We'll look it up later. My goodness.
Google on.
But it's great to have you, man. What brings you here? I mean, you got any questions, Nathan? I mean, you got any insight? I mean, Portugal actually legalized everything, didn't they? As far as the drug trade in Portugal, I mean, it's one of the few countries that decriminalized drugs all the way around, and it's they've had a good results with it. I mean, can you touch on that with us, Nathan?
Well, it's kind of hard because he. Stop it, Eric.
Yeah, what to say. Eric, thank you so much.
Eric
for
does not know Portuguese. He's messing with you.
Does it say she wore army boots? Oh, that's an old one.
I'm just trying to copy and post it so I can get it translated into English.
But that's a fact as far as the legalization of drugs in Portugal. The Portuguese government some years ago now they just decided to decriminalize drugs because of the violence, and it was just so overwhelming out there. And it actually has worked for them. So they claim. I don't know that would be the same here. I think that could end up being disastrous here, but that's just my opinion. Because a lot of people brought that up and used that Portugal model a lot as as an argument as to decriminalizing all narcotics. Mm-hmm. I mean,
and it's hard. Like,
they decriminalized pot, and we got a whole nation of people high right now.
But who knows what's the right answer? Because so far, everything they have done is not working.
I don't know.
I can't see.
I drive around in my truck while I smell pot. I'm up there high. These cars come by, and I'm like, woo!
Yeah.
My goodness, somebody run over a skunk.
Exactly. And we don't know that. We don't know. I mean, I do. I think I do have the answer.
I'm still laughing at Eric. He cracks me up.
Yes, he kills me.
Eric, you should take that show on the road. You really should. Yeah, you're a funny guy.
But it's difficult today with all of this mental health at horrible levels and just not getting the help that they need. They've closed down these mental hospitals, and they can't even go to a therapist and sit in a room and talk with them anymore. That's all telehealth now. I just don't get it. I don't know why they prefer telehealth over in person. I myself am so grateful that we went back to in-person meetings, support meetings, because quite frankly, it was nice to be able to make the dinner. It's making dinner while you're making a meeting at the same time, but you just don't have that connection. You lose that connection, and then I get to go out to eat afterwards.
And naming songs, well, just by chance, we happen to be in a music studio right now. This is a all-around, totally accomplished music studio with music mixing and mastering goes on in here.
But
we're allowed to use it on Friday nights.
We just, have to be more. I don't know, more alert with what's going on. We have to be getting out there and getting the word out there. And was the nice thing when we first got into it. It was so open. There were so many avenues open to helping the person that was still struggling. People were taking that anonymity and saying anonymity is
come on,
killing.
Just come out and say it. Stop sugarcoating.
It's killing our loved ones. We have to stop this. This needs to stop. And we were very lucky. We were very fortunate at that time to be able to be part of that time where there were town hall meetings and different events going on, walks, and when you're affected by it, you see it and you're out there and you want to get all the education you can. But when you're not affected by it, or you don't know you're affected by it yet, then you're not getting that education. You're not learning that education. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, when it first happened with us, was the fact that, I don't know where to go to get help. I don't know where I can get my loved one help. And that, it's just so, the hope is like gone. Like, what do we do? How do we help them? Where do we go to get the help that they need, that we need? Like, help me.
Yeah, it's not something that you would even look up or want to know about unless you were directly affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's all around you, and you're not even aware of it. There's help all around you. There's meetings at this church, that church, all around you. There's things involving recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not affected by addiction anyway, you're not going to be aware of what's out there and what's going on, and you kind of get blindsided. And
Yeah. And I have to say, our meetings have gotten very big because they have opened up the rehab for the families to come and see their loved ones now in person.
They're allowed in-house visitation now.
Right. However, in order for them to go, when this first started with us, it was a 3-hour education class before we could see our loved one, and now it's only an hour and a half. So
By coming to our meeting, they can qualify to go and visit their loved ones. So we're getting a lot of one-timers that come in like for our meeting, and that's fine.
And I'm hoping to see more timers. Like, we've been there for 8.5 years. Some people have just started since COVID started, or ended, I should say. So after COVID, those that have been going for such a long time are not coming back, and that's fine. I don't, they're doing their own thing. They have their own programs. They have their Nar-Anon or Al-Anon or, whichever form of support they want. Whatever form of support they're using, then so be it, and do well with it. I just want to see you getting some kind of support, no matter what that support is. Just like our loved ones who are in recovery. I don't care what kind of path you're on to your recovery, as long as you're on a path and you're getting the help that you need. I myself, I'm very pro anonymity, and not anonymity.
It's anonymity. You're being anonymous.
I mean, I won't go out and say, oh, by the way, I saw this, that, or the other, and, in a meeting or whatever. I, myself, what word am I looking for?
I don't know where you're going with this.
Abstinence. I'm one for abstinence. But if you've tried it and it's not working, then find what's working for you. That's the number one thing.
We're not against any avenue of recovery.
Absolutely
we have ones
not.
that resonate with us more than others.
Yes.
How's that? But, but there's no one fix-all way. You know what I mean? There's
Right.
all different avenues to take. And whatever's successful for you, well, God bless you, man. Stay with it.
Yes, take the path that works best for you, and that's all I can say on that. It's, as long as you're alive, and living a life that you should be living, being, working and raising a family, doing what you need to do through life, and it's working for you, knock yourself out. I don't care.
That's a poor choice of words.
Well,
Knock yourself out.
I'm just saying, like, you do what's best
Right.
for you.
I know.
And, and going back to, the education and all, I was on a a panel that we would go out into the community, and some of them would be a lot of people showing up. If it was in a school, we didn't get a whole heck of a lot. And that's the saddest part of all of that, is there's so many in the schools that really need to learn and understand this. And the parents thought, won't happen in our house. I'm not going to that.
I had a talk with my
I
children
already
about
told
drugs.
them no
you know.
drugs, no alcohol.
I had a talk. I'm not going to have that problem in
Right.
my house because I've addressed it already.
I showed them that commercial where they fry the egg in the pan.
I mean, we had a talk. I mean,
And they did.
I have a great relationship with my kids, and like,
And
you
they
know,
did the DARE program. They made a poster. It just,
And like, what do you say to that? You say, well, that's great. Mm-hmm. You can't say nothing. I mean, and you hope they're right.
and then, whenever I post something or, something's coming up, it's, remember that everyone in that support group for the family starts with, I never thought it would happen in my home.
Right. Now, we were the Boy Scout parents. My wife was the band mother. We with band at school and volunteering at the school and this. I mean, we did everything right as far as but yet addiction still affected our family. No matter how hard and how close we all were, it's just something that happens. Mm-hmm. You didn't cause it. You can't cure it. And
You can't control it.
can't control it. The 3 C's of addiction.
And it's true. It's, it's going to happen to the one you least suspect, because, they're not going, it's not going to happen to them. They're smarter than that. Period. That's addiction.
That's why, everybody thinks it's that Spicoli type kid, in school that's going to end up with the problems. And in many cases it may be, but I mean, you always have all of them such a surprise. I never expected to see that from him.
Right.
Like, hey, he was the athlete, this and that. I mean, great grades, honors, goes to college, takes up drinking. Happens a lot. That little bit of freedom, man, that just, and then everything slips. Next thing you know, his grades are slipping. He's partying more than he's learning. I mean, it's the same story. I mean, it just, everybody's affected different. I mean, it doesn't make you a good person, bad person. Addiction affects, is an equal opportunity destroyer. I don't care who you are for.
It is. It's sad. It's so sad seeing this hitting so many families. And we've said it before, when we go to meetings and they have speakers come in, you're not hearing, oh, I was abused as a child, my parents didn't care about us.
More
the
so than I
stories.
hear. I had a great life. It's just something that happened. My parents were loving parents. I mean, you hear that more so than the negative, horrible stuff that somehow in your mind that can make you justify their actions and all. I mean, I've talked to, oh my God, hundreds of people in addiction, down on the front lines, right in the midst of their addiction. I mean, right down the streets of Kensington. I would have great conversations with people. You wouldn't think that takes place down there, but they do. I mean, you want to talk, a lot of them will talk to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, because society kind of shies away from them. I mean, they're pretty scary looking, a lot of them down. I mean, like, so it's not, they look unapproachable. But, I got over that, and I would approach them, and they're very receiving of my, of my interest in them. Mm-hmm. And they took like an interest in me. I mean, like every week they go out of their way to come over and say hi and ask how my loved one was doing. And I say, I tell them this, that, what's going on there, and I ask how they're doing, what's going on, you got any plans yet? I don't push recovery down their throat. I mean, but I let them know, should they come to that part in their life, that epiphany they're looking for, to please give me a try. Come to me. I'll do whatever I can to expedite, you in the recovery. I mean, we had some connections. We could help cut through some red tape and speed things up because, speed is of the essence, man. When you get that moment of clarity and you want help, I mean, you got to act fast. You got to act fast because, once you start, the withdrawal kicks in and your stinking thinking kicks in and you start getting scared and this and that. I mean, that window's closing quick, and it's so easy to get tied up in the system and have to wait days sometimes, days. I mean, so hopefully, we can shrink that down, making some phone calls and expedite things for you. But, that's just what we do, part of what we do. I mean, me and Lori have been doing this for quite a time now. We went from the outreach end of addictions and on the front lines to helping families because we just seen a need for it and the families being left behind, feeling lost and not knowing where to turn.
Yeah.
I still talk to people in addiction from time to time. I mean, but mostly now we deal with the family end. We do family meetings with Live and Grin, and we volunteer at a couple other places. I DJ free events for a lot of places for fundraising and such, and it helps with our networking. At these events you meet more and more people, or vendors and such from different health organizations and from different recovery houses, and you meet a lot of people and a lot of networking, and it really helps. It really helps. You can make some calls and get the ball rolling. I mean, we have a judge that's a very good friend of ours now. I mean, we've met over the years. I mean, she's very helpful. I mean, she can lead us in directions and tell us what to do or who we should contact and such things like that. I mean, it's just a great way to give back and to help people. Because I got to tell you, me and Lori were lost. What happened to us? We didn't know what the hell to do. Like, how did this happen on our watch? Because our loved one didn't live with us, and also we really didn't see all the behind the scenes, all the red flags, And it was scary. You felt helpless. But
Oh, you're leaving, Barb. I'm trying to get this whole. Do alcoholics stop drinking because you tell them to? Absolutely not.
Alcoholics stop drinking when they come to the realization of they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it's only they can make that decision.
Or when it has come to a point of, legal issues.
Right. So they may stop temporarily just to appease everybody, or if you tell them to enough, they may try and stop or give you the illusion that they're stopping, but it's usually not successful. It's only successful when that individual comes upon that decision on their own to help themselves. I mean, the truth, I mean, they may stop because they have a DUI and they go to a DUI class, but with any kind of addiction, unless you're doing it for yourself, it's highly unsuccessful. I mean, especially like the first times, they're doing it for everybody but themselves, just to get people off their back, just because, they're upsetting someone. I mean, whatever, but it isn't until you really get that epiphany, that moment in your life where, like, I'm just tired of this lifestyle, and you take your sobriety head on and do what you're supposed to do and go through the steps of this and that you're successful. That's the bottom line.
No, and yelling and screaming and fighting and hollering, that will not get them to quit drinking or drugging. That's just going to escalate it even more.
Yeah, that just brings things more. And I'm going to tell you, addictional, people love that turmoil. They love all that yelling and screaming.
Exactly.
You know what that does? That takes the focus off of them.
And
all right, it's just, everybody feeds into that and it gets out of hand.
Yes. Nathan, does that last one that you put in there mean educations come from this book? Just asking. I found a translator, so they have to want it. They have to want it. And not only do they have to want it, but sometimes you'll even find that it'll be a legal issue, a DUI. You never know what's going to get them there, but during
Good night, Barb. We'll see you next week.
yes, love you, Barb. I know that I took Smart Recovery and Beyond Addiction, the partnership classes, and have been certified in those, and it is proven that they find the best results in recovery. And it's learning how to talk to our loved ones that are struggling with alcohol or substance use. It's changing the conversation. It's listening to them. We don't have to like it.
That's why there's so much relapse and recovery, because
Right.
usually in the beginning, people are doing it for all the wrong reasons. They're doing it for everyone and everyone except themselves.
Yes, and Barb, Living Green, the family group is every other Wednesday, 7 o'clock to 8:30. Every other Wednesday. We just met this past Wednesday, so we won't be meeting this coming Wednesday, but the following. That's for the family group. So definitely check that out if you want to come, because families
and if
hearing
you just
from
ask us, we'll tell you which week. I mean,
and really hearing the families hearing from somebody that is in recovery is also very helpful.
we have a good crowd. We're averaging around 30 people a week now
Yes.
come into our meeting. We used to have as many as 40 back before the pandemic, but so our numbers are coming back.
Right. So we just need to yeah, no. You're not going to they're not looking for the taste. They're looking for the euphoric feeling, and they're not going to get that with the near beer. Just
Pro commenter, man. John, is this you?
I'm sure it is.
But yeah, you're not going to fool.
No, you're not. You're just not going to fool them.
That's just like, a lot of people say, well, I never had a problem with alcohol. My problem is, with benzodiazepines or crack or crank or heroin. Never had a problem with alcohol. So I'm just going to keep drinking. Well, that's fine. And that may get you over that edge at first, but your brain knows what it really wants and what it really desires. And you can't trick your brain. You really can't. Your brain knows. So your brain's just going to keep fixating on what it really wants. And then you start drinking, and then, your inhibitions come down, and this, that. Next thing you know, you're back to square one. You're right back to your drug of choice. So that's a very dangerous approach, trying to substitute one for the other. And that's just my opinion. And it's pretty factual, pretty fact-based. I mean, right now the big thing is they got everybody smoking pot to help with the side effects and the withdrawals of other drugs.
Right.
I'm not going to comment too much on that because people get nasty. But I think that's a slippery slope. It's very dangerous because, like I said, your body knows what it really wants. Really has nothing to do with how safe marijuana is or this or that. It's a chemical. It's a mind-altering substance. And your brain knows what it really wants. I mean, it may help you over the edge at first for a little while, but it's going to lead you down a path, again, that you don't want to be on. It really is. I mean, the deck is stacked against you with that type of approach to recovery. Okay.
Keep going. I'm doing this.
This is John. This is guy. Yes, you can spin them really fast and they feel like they're drunk. My grandson does it on a sit and spin. Now, is he going to have the propensity for an alcohol problem when he's older? I don't know. But he loves the feeling. He loves to spin around on his sit and spin and then stumble around the living room. I don't know. These are, it's like a comedy. Spin around on it's sitting, spinning, and stumble around the
Have you already read the Black Cover book? This is from Nathan.
Okay.
I'm translating.
Good night, Barb.
Yeah, so, you know, we have to be mindful of what's going on in our country right now and try to find the best education out there, the best way to get people to get educated. That's, really important because people don't want to get out there and get the help that they need because they might know somebody in the meeting. And
Yeah, that's a big
gosh
one. Big
forbid.
excuse you hear a lot.
gosh forbid we see somebody in the meeting that
Let me tell you, it happens to us all the time. It's
and
a
it's
small world. You realize what a small world it is,
and again,
you don't know what's going on around you.
and again I'll say then you have somebody that you can reach out to and talk to. It does get a little scary if
How many times have we been in a meeting and new people kind of go, "Oh hi, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were here."
yeah, oh, not you too. It's it is what it is.
And we got to stay anonymous. I never forget one night, this mother and daughter come in. They were talking about the son, and it turns out I know the guy. I went to high school with him. I couldn't say anything. And I was sitting there and she was talking, and I think they might have mentioned his first name or something, and I heard her list. I go, "It's definitely them." And I noticed him. I had ran into him a few years before that, and he was in a really bad state of mind. I could tell, he had a serious drinking problem. It's just ironic, and they come in there, and they came for like a week or two, and I never seen them again. So I hopefully everything turned out well. But it's just what a small world it is. I mean, one of our facilitators, Dana Cohen, would always say, everybody says, "Oh, not my family. We don't have any problems like that or this and that." And she would always say, if you shake that family tree hard enough, you'll be amazed what falls out of it. I mean, that you weren't aware of, you didn't know. And you find out Uncle Joe, has been in recovery for 35 years. You never knew he had a problem, like, wow. It's not something people broadcast, especially back then.
Right.
It was more taboo. It kept saying, now it's a little bit more socially acceptable. But addiction affects the world, man, big time. I mean, there are so many people, that have some type of addiction to something, like all different things. And it's amazing how many people we lose a year to overdose. I always put it in perspective. Now I think last count was like 70,000 people, almost. We're losing a year to overdose. That's more than we lost in the entire Vietnam War, which went over like 19 years. That's more than we lost in the entire Vietnam War. And every war after that, up to yesterday, we lose in 1 year more than we lost to all those wars. It's a lot of people, man. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's to the point now you can almost feel like Lincoln Financial Field twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's like 30,000. I mean, you put it in parameters. I got people go, "Holy crap, that's horrible."
And I don't know
realize how large these numbers
Right.
are. It's insane. I mean, I seen it going up every year in the last 8 years when we started. I mean, I think when we first started that, it was like 30,000 people we were losing, and that was a high number. And I thought 40 to 50 to 60. I mean, oh my gosh, where does it stop? It's just getting worse. I mean, now with fentanyl and xylazine being added and all these different kinds, we're losing a whole generation. Like I said before, I hate to sound like a broken record. We're losing a whole generation of thinkers and decision makers. I mean, our younger generation is just we're losing way too many of them.
That's the saddest part is, where's our country going to be, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, with so many dying today. And I have to say, it's awesome that we do have so many people making it through with the Narcan. And actually, people say, "Oh, let them die." They overdose all the time. Well, there's so many people that have been hit with the Narcan so many times, but they actually end up finding the recovery and living a great life. And it's somebody's family, it's somebody's loved one that you're saying this about. And it's just so sad that we even say it. Sorry, guys. I'm actually trying to see what he was saying. I found a thing. So I don't know, but if you had a talk about children without a father, in the majority of times it is the mothers who take custody of their children and keep them away. So this is things that
We're getting different feeds, I don't know.
this is stuff that Nathan has sent us.
All right.
So I'm translating it.
Oh, okay. And
So I'm just trying, because if he needs help, I want to be able to help him.
Paula, I know you're very passionate about what you're saying there, but we're just going to go off on a whole other angle. We start talking about vaccinations and things like that.
As siblings, do you think...
I'm not a vax person myself, but I mean it's just going to upset people, and we're going to go on a whole different angle. And this show's kind of about recovery,
Right.
Not about vaccinations. And
As,
people get very hostile when you start talking about vaccines.
as siblings, do you think that brothers and sisters should host drinking parties?
That's a decision that you have to make. I mean that's a pretty broad statement. I mean, if they're very young, I think it's very dangerous. I mean, I don't know what ages we're talking about, the brothers and sisters, and what the other siblings are. I mean, that's a decision you'd have to make. I mean, I think it's dangerous around very young children, teaching them those behaviors and mannerisms at such a
Can
young
you see
age.
that?
Well,
They're back.
but
You have to make that judgment. I myself, living in the United States of America, you have to be 21 to drink, period. And, does that make it right? A lot of families will say, I'd rather them drink here and, know what they're doing than have them sneaking it outside somewhere else. So,
I mean, that was a mindset years ago. That was probably a mindset when I was growing up.
right.
And I'll tell you, that's a very dangerous mindset nowadays because of our litigious nature in the United States now and around. I mean, you're opening yourself up for a lot of legal ramifications. You got people underage drinking, on your property with your permission. I mean, nowadays, I would steer clear of it.
Oh, definitely.
Myself.
There's...
I mean, it's. It was a different time. I mean, I'm an old guy now. I'm pushing 63 this summer. I mean, times were simpler then, and you always heard your parents say that times were simpler then. It's very dangerous now to do anything like that, and anything, especially with a minor involved. I mean, the kid has a couple beers. He had one beer, and he walks out. He's not paying attention, and he walks out in traffic, gets hit by a car. Now they finally have beer in the system. It's going to come back on you, whether that individual was inebriated or not, but because he had one beer in your presence and you served it to him, you lose your house, everything. I mean, not to mention, the dangers to the children. I mean, we all know that it's dangerous, that part, but I'm just saying the other end. I mean, you're opening yourself up to a whole hornet's nest of problems. I mean, be very careful with minors or children, anything nowadays. And like I said, people are very litigious. I mean, my God, if a kid falls in your yard, you end up not anything to do with alcohol. I mean, you used to have a whole yard full of kids come over playing baseball. I mean, if a child gets hurt, you end up getting sued because, you know, you had that hump in your yard, or that swing set wasn't anchored right. Like, it's a whole different world nowadays. It's not, you know, you bring drugs or alcohol into the mix, well, that's compounded things even more. That's just my thought on that.
The United States is no different from Brazil when it comes to parents and children. I need to translate.
Hey, parents love their children no matter what country.
Exactly.
I mean, we're all very protective of our children. But I'll tell you one thing, when it comes to a point when your child takes on a substance use disorder, all those values you learned is what it takes to be a great parent over the years. All that training, all that grooming, you know, can actually be very detrimental in your child's recovery, because it's very easy for you to cross over into enabling. And if you're not careful, you could absolutely love your child to death by using those same values and all. So that's something we try to instill into our parents when they come into our class or program, that you got to be very, very careful, you know, not to cross over into that enabling. And because, you know, we're taught as children ourselves what it is to be a good parent. It's, you know, you run into a burning building if need be to save your child. I mean, you don't ever want your child to be cold, hungry, or in danger. Anything you do anything in your power to prevent that from happening. But when your child's, you know, in addiction, trying to recover, it's very easy to give them that money. You're like, oh, I got to buy some food. Well, there you go. And we give them things that they easily turn into cash because we don't realize it. We well, I'll get them a gift card. Well, any gift card could be turned into cash at any check cashing place for like 25 cents on a dollar.
So we have 15 minutes left, or less than 15 minutes left. If anybody has anything that they really want to talk about, that they need to talk about to get some support.
Yeah, feel free to ask us. I mean,
pop it in the comments. Give us a call in, 267-737-8031.
Number's up on the screen. It's a hotline. It goes right onto the show. After the show, it goes right to Lori. It's a specialized number. I mean, just give us a call if you have a question, something that's really bothering you. If you're feeling like you're going to have an issue, a problem, you need somebody to shoot the shit with, you need somebody to talk to.
Yep.
I mean, give us a call. That's what we do. I mean, you're not bothering us. That's what we do. We're trying to help people. This show, let me just put out, this show is not monetized, so I don't have to ask you to hit the subscribe or thing, any of that, because we don't get paid anything for the show. We're not a monetized show. We do ask you to share it with your friends so we could get more people involved and help them, but it has nothing to do with raising any type of funds. We don't ask for donations. That's or nothing. We have a very low overhead. We have a studio here. It's my son's music studio. And he lets us use it for free on Friday nights. I mean, he helps. He's behind us here as our engineer. He takes care of the engineering and all. So we're fine. We don't need donations or anything like that. We just want to help you.
But if you do like and subscribe, you can then comment if you're on a phone, iPad, or a laptop, I believe. You cannot do it if you're on a TV, but you can watch it on the TV and do any kind of comments.
Now, if you want to mail me a bunt cake or something, I can give you an address.
But yeah, it's, you know, it's hard because you just don't know what the right thing is to do. You know, we can talk to our kids till we're blue in the face, and again, I'm not going to become that. I'm smarter than that, is what it comes down to, bottom line. And that's the scariest part of addiction. Our loved one went through many years of MRIs, CAT scans, x-rays, just because of headaches from the age of 4. And they didn't say, hey, listen, you know, when he grows up, he's going to be addicted, or, you know, addicted to alcohol or drugs. You know, it's not something that is seen on any type of scan. It isn't until that substance hits that receptor that turns on that switch. And it may not be the first, second, third, or fourth time that that switch says we're not going to let them go back. Everybody is different. The chemical balance are different for everybody. So,
And it's where the whole clinical end of addiction is so fascinating. I love that part of it, learning more and more about it. I'm going to talk more about that in upcoming weeks. I mean, I've been watching one guy's thing that he talks about how what we're doing, we're just chasing dopamine. That's what addiction is all about, chasing more dopamine, because we can't produce enough to satisfy our need for it. And that's what addiction does with drugs and alcohol. You know, it's a whole chemical process in the brain that you're not in control of. And it's fascinating. I'm going to start touching more on it in the next couple of weeks. I want to straighten out how I want to talk about what approach I want to take. I don't know if I'm going to put up charts or something up. But, I mean, I find it fascinating. That's something that would really help me wrap my head around the whole issue of what's going on. It made it all make more sense to me.
right. And, you know, just keep finding that one program that's going to help you, whether you are somebody that is struggling with addiction or the family member or friend that's dealing with somebody that they love.
And all you non-vaccinated people out there that are commenting, you know, your blood's very valuable. I don't know if you're aware of that. You can sell your blood. They're actually looking for non-vaccinated blood for different reasons and all that. So something you want to look into. I mean, you can sell your platelets and blood or whatever, because they're actually looking for non-vaccinated people for certain circumstances. Put that out there.
Yeah.
I see he's all commenting on there. Like I said,
And I'm not getting all of them comments, so I don't see all of them. So
a lot of people saying how good your hair looks tonight. What did you do different?
nobody said that. Nobody's even.
She gets her hair
noticed.
cut earlier in the week. No, I said that. And then last night she, what's the, here, she didn't like it, so she had it redone again, and I didn't pick up on that. And I'm horrible husband. Horrible.
Especially when it was like so dark. Like, hello.
We've been together 30-something, well, almost 40 years we've been together. We've been married 30-something. I mean, whatever you want. I mean, I don't know. I'm not eyeballing up and down, checking out with your hair color.
You would think so. You know, we are married.
Is that true, Betty Ann? If you're COVID vaccinated, they don't take your blood? Wow, that's something to look into. I mean, you can't donate. You can't donate if you're vaccinated. We're gonna have a major freaking blood shortage on our hands.
Yeah.
Holy crap! That's it. I'm gonna go give some tomorrow.
Well, I do know that people are saying I want non-vaccinated
Really?
blood.
Oh, I'm gonna go. I might be able to make some walking around money.
Yeah.
Could buy a fancy hat or something.
Yes. But no, it's, you know, I say no to children starting to drink at a younger age before they're legal, and not for any other reason than it's against the law.
It's a whole different world now, man. When I was a young shaver, I remember my grandfather gave me the little pewter glass. Pewter, it's stuff you shouldn't even drink it out of. It's like a lead base.
Yeah.
But pour a little beer in it for you, you know, and you're like 5.
No, I think you can give blood if you have the vaccine. It's people don't want the blood if it if they have had vaccine.
Do they want flavored blood on? Could be, Larry. Something I look into.
But no, I'm against that. And you know, back in the day, it was a different
it's not
world.
that they can't give blood, Betty, and it's just it's a preferred blood. I don't know. Some people have certain conditions and all; they can't be exposed to the spike protein. So there's like a demand for unvaccinated blood for certain individuals. That's the way I read it.
And unfortunately, way back when blood started getting donated, people didn't want Irish blood. They didn't want black blood. They didn't want
The Polish blood. You got to stay away from the Polish blood.
Like they were, like, come on, it's a life being saved. It doesn't matter. We all bleed the same blood. It's different types, yes, but you know, you're not going to start. You know,
That's it. I'm putting my blood on the market.
I'm telling you.
I have nothing. I don't even have over-the-counter medications. I take an Excedrin maybe 3 times a year. I am a NyQuil guy though when I'm sick. I gotta tell you that it's one over-the-counter thing. I shouldn't because I got high blood pressure. But I'll tell you that's the fix-all for me. NyQuil. I feel like shit. I take my NyQuil and I sleep like a baby. The next morning I'm fit as a fiddle. It's my go-to. But I don't take drugs. I very rarely drink anymore, unless my buddy Jimmy makes me. And, that's his wife commenting on there. That'll be a big laugh. He gets worried when I don't drink. What's the matter? How come you're not having anything? I'm just not in the mood. I think there's something wrong with Pappy.
But we're coming up to the end here. Let's see, this week we are not meeting. This Wednesday we're not meeting for family support, but they do have the family education at Living Grin, the Ben Salem campus, first building to your left from 7 to 8:30. If you are looking for family support, that's where you can go. Check the AANACA, whatever A you're doing
Fonzie,
for your
A.
area
Reminds me of
meetings.
Fonzie a little. Larry reminds me of Fonzie a little bit. I think it's the Italian. I don't know.
Maybe if he wore a leather jacket, but he doesn't do that.
He does. He reminds me.
But,
like Henry Winkler.
Yeah. A tall Henry.
like- Yeah,
Henry's
a
short.
cross between Ozzy and Fonzie.
Yeah. But we will be back here next Friday.
If we don't get washed away tonight, we got anywhere from 3 to 5 inches now of rain. Like, it's a big difference
Yeah.
coming in tonight. So we kind of live on like an island here. We're like a half a block off the river, and we're like at sea level. Actually, I think my house is like 18 feet above sea level. It's
Yeah.
considered. So it becomes an island, the whole neighborhood. So hopefully you see us next week.
And the scary thing is, I just made a realization on, was it 2 years ago we got hit with that really bad flooding, or was it last year? All down the end of our hill was totally flooded. Like,
That was the worst ever. That was like
I've
2
never
years
seen
ago.
it that
I got
bad.
video footage of like cars floating up and down.
And we're on a hill. We're
And
on
I'm
a
in my
steep
commercial
hill.
truck driving through, and there's like cars,
Yeah.
people standing up yelling, like stuff you see on television.
But yet, on this side of our area, it's flat, and they were flooded too. I'm like, shouldn't that be running down our hill? Like, I don't know how it happened, but it was just
it
weird.
was just an anomaly.
Yeah.
Things were just all in place.
Yeah.
But anyway,
We will be back here next Friday from 9 to 10:30. If there is anything that you're struggling with, please give me a call, 267-737-8031. Text me, call me. If you have a topic that you want us to cover, please send it to me. Send me a text. Send me something.
if you have any major appliance issues, I mean, Eric's on here. He can
Yeah.
talk you through it, send you to the right YouTube channel to fix it.
Anybody that wants to see what's going on, check out my Facebook page, Living Hopeful. The private one is, the closed one is Living Hopeful, Lower Bucks County.
And we want to thank all our new people tuning in tonight. Tarek
Yes.
Destroyer, Nathan, Paula Berlinski. I think I've seen Paula before. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And
Polo,
Nathan, hopefully you come back next week, and I have the thingy-majiggy translator that I
Yeah,
can.
man. Thanks for
read.
tuning in.
Yes.
It's great to have you all on there. We had a good turnout tonight. I'm looking at the tote board up there. We had a pretty good turnout, people.
Well, if it's any consolation, the rain doesn't start till 3 a.m., so he'll be able to get down there to work before it starts.
He needs me to come get him. I got my truck stuck.
But he's
Still on my
kinda-
truck. It's up the street. I can swim over to it and come
Yeah,
and get him.
he's kind of screwed when he gets back in because he's
But,
going to get.
All right, we're running
go
late.
get
It's
wet.
10:31. People,
All
thank you
right.
so much for tuning in. It's great to have you. Tell your friends about our show if at all possible. Remember, recovery works if you work it.
Yes. Peace out, everybody.
we-
Have a great week.
All right, we love you guys. Good night.
Turn the ship around and head for the shore. I long to see your face through every storm. My hands have grown tired from holding on. I guess I can't save you after all, but I'm sailing on. Let you go, it's so far away, and I wasted the years alone, and I'm holding on. I saw you again last night and